Hey everyone, my name is Faina and welcome to Bookish Paradise. Did you hear that? You probably didn't, but an ice cream truck just drove by my window. You know what that means? That is an indication that summer is finally here. Summer is one of the best times to read, in my opinion, because reading outdoors is a whole different experience than it is reading indoors. Don't get me wrong, reading indoors really appeals to the introvert in me. There are many days where I would just prefer to curl up in bed and read for hours without any human contact. During the pandemic, which was at its peak about 2-3 years ago, I spent the majority of my time outside reading. During that time period, I lived with my parents who have a front yard, so I would spend hours outside sitting with our family dog, her name is Lisa, by the way, and just reading and enjoying the outdoors. During the colder months, like in autumn, I would just, take a big blanket and put 2 chairs together, put my feet on top and cocoon myself, and I would make a hot cup of tea, and that's basically how my autumns went. No, I did not go outside in the winter, I'm not crazy. So a tiny backstory here. My husband and I got married almost exactly a year ago. It was June 3rd, 2021. We moved in together immediately into an apartment, and unfortunately, this apartment does not have a balcony. But feeling the warmer weather, seeing the sun shining every day so far this last week, I feel like it doesn't matter if I'm outdoors or not, just summer is a great time to read. My last few months of reading have been horrendous. I think I've read only one single book in the last few months. I have been in one of the worst reading slumps of my life. And by the way, if you want to hear me rant about that as to why and everything that happened during that reading slump, I'm gonna post a video card up here somewhere, so take a look. With that being said, I am a little bit scared to take on a huge TBR for this month. So I'm gonna take things a little slower. I'm also going to make things easier for myself and mix in a couple of different reads. For example, one of them I want to do is gonna be a reread, and then the other ones are going to be ARCs. For those who don't know, ARCs, or ARC, stands for Advanced Reader Copies. Basically, these last 2 months, I've received a handful of advanced copies from authors, and these are books that were set to be published soon or in a couple of months from that time that I had received it, in exchange for a review. Since I am getting over and recovering from that reading slump, I decided to tackle some of those arcs so I can give those authors the reviews they deserve. Do you like liberating women from men? Do you think we should poison them because that's the obvious solution? Well, look no further. My first June read is going to be The Lost Apothecary. A while ago, I had received a gift from my aunt, which was a book of the month subscription, and it was like a 6-month subscription, and I had chosen this book, which is part of the March 2021 month. Long story short, we're starting off in 1791 London. You see that apothecary over there? Well, there's 2 rules that you have to follow. You can't poison other women, obviously, because men are always the culprit. And number 2, the name of the victim and the poisoner have to be recorded. So yes, these women in this apothecary have a book where they recorded the names of their victims with the names of the women who poisoned them. Let's fast forward to present day, where we focus on a woman who is celebrating her 10-year wedding anniversary all alone because her husband decided to cheat on her. Conveniently, she finds this old record book with these names of victims and poisoners. Let's see where this goes. Moving on to the first arc that I want to read this month is The Truth of Lies, and that was actually published May 5th of this year. As I said, I got this ebook from the author. She emailed it to me, and initially I posted a cover reveal of her book on my Bookstagram account. So now I'm going to review this book, and once I do, you can actually find that review either on Goodreads or on my Bookstagram account, and both of those links will be in the description below. So let's set the mood right now. You wake up in the forest. You have 0 memory, and there's some king of the air kingdom who claims to be your husband. I mean, okay, cool. Call me queen, right? Anywho, okay, you go along with it. Cool. I have a king for a husband. I rule a kingdom, even though I have no idea how to, and I don't even remember if this guy really is my husband. So why don't we make things a little more interesting and introduce a sarcastic fae prince who's from the rival kingdom, the Earth Kingdom. Memories need to come back soon. What's the truth? And what are the lies? Like I said, I don't want to overwhelm myself too much this month because I am a recovering reading slumper. And yes, if that word does not exist yet, I am coining that term, recovering reading slumper. The Lost Apothecary is going to be a fun, quick read, according to some of my friends who recently read it. The second one is an arc, and the benefit of that is I have it as an ebook, so I can actually read it on the go. Now the third book. I think I've mentioned this series maybe once, at least once, in every video, because let me just show you. So I want to reread the first Crescent City book. For those who don't know, I read this book back in like January of 2020. So it's been a while since I read it. It did make an impact on me emotionally, mentally, psychologically, even physically. My point to this is the second book of the Crescent City series came out, I believe, a few months ago. I don't remember any details at all from the first book. I made it a habit that anytime a sequel comes out to a book, like if there's, future installments, I try to revisit the series before reading that next installment. I did want to read this actually a couple of months back, but because I was in such a reading slump, I didn't want to take on this like hefty, massive read. So I'm going to take things slow. I'm going to read those first two books, which are lighter reads, and then I'll just take the rest of the month to read this one. Hey guys, I'm inserting this clip here and I'm literally recording just a few days after the original video. So I know I said I was only gonna read those 3 books for the month of June. However, I was recently selected to review a book. That review is due June 11th, so I'm actually gonna be squeezing that book in between for a total of 4 books this month. The 4th book that I will be reading in June is called Among Shadows, and here it is. I just received it in the mail this morning. Let me read you a very quick synopsis about it. It says, I lied, I killed, and now I've lost everything. The only thing left is finding out if any of it was worth it. The main character is a spy to a powerful man and the only wielder to darkness. She was groomed from a very young age, and now her latest mission is to force her to reveal herself or to betray her only friend. Whenever I receive a new book, whether to review it or just to read, I head over to Goodreads to see any ratings and what to expect from the book. And I'm very pleased to say it has quite a high rating on Goodreads. It's about like a 4.3 out of 5 stars. And to clarify more about the book, somebody had mentioned it's basically, we're following a young orphan girl who's working as an assassin undercover in the king's palace. I'm very excited to read this book and add this to my TBR. Back to the original video. I think as a recovering reading slumper, this is not too ambitious. I won't get too overwhelmed. I am focusing on my inner reader healing. None of these terms work. But if you've read any of these books, let me know in the comments below if you like them. I'm just curious to know right before I pick them up. And honestly, the only books I didn't read was The Lost Apothecary and The Truth of Lies. And it's been out for about a month now. So if you had a chance to read it, I would love to know what you guys think. Also, just because I'm in a reading slump or coming out of one and I want to just read 3 books, how many books are you guys planning on reading for the month of June? I think one of my friends said that they're going to try to do like 30, and I was like, oh, okay, a little too much for me there, but good luck. I hope you guys have a fantastic start to your summer, and if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Thank you so much for joining me in my small corner of bookish paradise.